The studio lights of the view blazed brightly as the audience settled in, their murmurs filling the air with anticipation. Michael B. Jordan, dressed sharply in a tailored navy suit, sat confidently on the guest couch, his charismatic smile lighting up the set. The hosts, Whoopi Goldberg, Behar, Sara Haines, and Sunny Hostin, were in high spirits, ready to dive into a mix of serious and lighthearted topics. Today's episode promised a unique blend: a discussion about Jordan's latest film project, followed by a segment on children's entertainment, spotlighting a new show called Barkley's Nursery Rhymes and Kids Songs. The show featured a lovable animated bear named Barkley who sang classics like "The Bear Went Over the Mountain," while teaching kids about exploration and adventure. As Whoopi introduced Michael, the audience erupted in applause, but Sunny Hostin leaned forward, her legal background sharpening her gaze. She began with a question about Jordan's role in producing socially conscious films, probing how he balanced art with activism. Michael responded thoughtfully, emphasizing his commitment to telling stories that resonate with underserved communities. The conversation flowed smoothly at first, but Sunny's tone shifted as she pressed him on the responsibility of celebrities to address controversial issues directly. Her pointed question about Hollywood's role in cultural debates caught Michael off guard, and the audience sensed a subtle tension. He deflected with charm, but Sunny wasn't ready to let it go, setting the stage for an unexpected clash. As the discussion deepened, Sunny Hostin steered the conversation toward Michael's involvement in family-friendly projects, tying it to the day's second topic: Barkley's Nursery Rhymes and Kids Songs. She mentioned how the show's wholesome content, like the song "The Bear Went Over the Mountain," aimed to teach kids about curiosity and resilience. Michael nodded, sharing that he'd always been passionate about storytelling that inspires all ages, citing his own childhood love for animated characters. But Sunny's next question took a sharp turn. She asked if Michael thought children's media, like Barkley's show, should tackle heavier social issues, such as systemic inequality, or stick to simple lessons. The audience grew quiet as Michael paused, his brow furrowing. He explained that while kids' shows should be safe spaces, they could subtly introduce values like fairness and kindness. Sunny countered, arguing that shielding kids from tough topics might perpetuate ignorance, and her tone carried an edge that felt almost accusatory. Michael's smile faded slightly as he defended his stance, saying that not every story needs to carry the weight of the world. The exchange grew heated, with Sunny pressing harder, suggesting that influential figures like Michael had a duty to push boundaries, even in children's content. The other hosts tried to lighten the mood, but the tension was palpable, and the audience could sense a storm brewing on the set. The atmosphere on The View thickened as Sunny Hostin doubled down, her voice rising slightly as she referenced a specific episode of Barkley's Nursery Rhymes where Barkley the bear embarks on an adventure to see what he could see, as the song goes. She argued that such stories could be a platform to address real-world issues like diversity or environmental challenges, questioning why Michael, as a producer, hadn't pushed for similar themes in his own projects. Michael's jaw tightened, but he kept his composure, explaining that he believed in meeting audiences where they are, especially young ones. He shared a personal anecdote about how simple stories helped him dream big as a kid in Newark, but Sunny interrupted, suggesting that his perspective might underestimate the capacity of children to grasp complex ideas. The audience gasped softly at her bluntness, and Whoopi tried to steer the conversation back to neutral ground, asking Michael about his favorite nursery rhymes growing up. He mentioned "The Bear Went Over the Mountain," with a nostalgic chuckle, but Sunny seized the moment, questioning whether such songs were too simplistic for today's kids. Michael's eyes narrowed as he responded that simplicity can be powerful, sparking imagination without overwhelming young minds. The back and forth felt less like a discussion and more like a debate, with Sunny's probing pushing Michael to the edge of his patience. By now, the energy in the studio was electric, with the audience hanging on every word. Behar jumped in, trying to diffuse the tension with a quip about how Barkley the bear might need a lawyer if he kept wandering over mountains. The crowd laughed, but Sunny wasn't deterred. She leaned forward, her voice steady but intense, and asked Michael if he thought celebrities should use their platforms to challenge societal norms, even at the risk of alienating fans. Michael, clearly frustrated, responded that he preferred to uplift rather than divide, pointing to his work in films that highlight resilience and hope. He mentioned how Barkley's nursery rhymes could inspire kids to explore without fear, much like his own projects aimed to do for broader audiences. Sunny's rebuttal was swift. She argued that inspiration without confrontation avoids the root of systemic issues. The exchange grew sharper, with Michael accusing Sunny of twisting his words to fit her narrative. The audience murmured, sensing the conversation spiraling. Whoopi called for a commercial break, but not before Michael shook his head, visibly irritated. As the cameras panned away, he muttered something inaudible, and Sunny's eyes widened, her expression a mix of surprise and defiance. The stage was set for a moment that would soon make headlines. When the View returned from the break, the tension hadn't dissipated. The hosts attempted to pivot to the lighter segment about Barkley's nursery rhymes and kids' songs, with Sara Haines introducing a clip of Barkley singing, "The Bear Went Over the Mountain," while exploring a colorful animated forest. The cheerful tune filled the studio, but Michael's demeanor remained guarded. Sunny, undeterred, brought the conversation back to her point, asking Michael if he'd consider producing content like Barkley's show but with a bolder social message. Michael's response was measured but firm. He believed in empowering creators to tell authentic stories, not forcing agendas into every project. Sunny's eyebrows shot up, and she accused him of sidestepping responsibility, suggesting that his influence could reshape how children's media addresses tough topics. The audience shifted uncomfortably as Michael leaned forward, his voice low but intense. He said he was tired of being boxed into a role where every move had to be a political statement. Sunny fired back, claiming that neutrality in the face of injustice was a choice in itself. The exchange reached a boiling point, and Michael, shaking his head, stood up abruptly, saying, "I'm done with this." The audience gasped as he removed his mic, his frustration clear, and walked off the set, leaving the host stunned and the crowd buzzing.